Age of Wonders Planetfall Star Kings DLC Dev Diary 67. The Galactic Empire. So this is about a lot of things actually, and not many people have read it, which is baffling to me as there's so much in there. So it's about planet traits, it's about secondary objectives you can have on the planets, it's about a requisition system, it's about relics, it's about a progression that you can build up, and it's about a hall of heroes. And as well, there's some modding potential. Let's have a look at this screen first. As you can see, you have a new overview over your dominion. The phase heart dominion in that case, founded in the years preceding the cataclysm and so on. As you can see, there's a galactic map here. You can conquer a new world. We have conquered some planets. It looks quite nice. The Galactic Empire system is intended to add a sense of progression across multiple planetary conquests, presenting new challenges and allowing for even more creativity when building your empires. So they also wanted to encourage the RPG aspect through secondary objectives based on the world's traits and through the choices of what to bring along on our conquests. Players will be able to lean into their empire style and develop it over time. I'm really looking forward to this. This adds some serious replayability, even more than it already has. I mean, the campaigns are great, and this is even cooler. What does it add to? Planet traits. Since we knew we wanted to have a game mode that encourages replayability and experimentation, we decided it was necessary to really spice up the worlds we attempt to conquer. This is done through the so-called planet traits. We have an example here, the Mycelian Infestation. That is a trait. Here's other traits too, Syndicate Allies and the Research Hub. There we have the secondary objectives. We'll come to these later, and all kinds of things like that. So, for example, this planet hosts a powerful mycelian infestation. At this size, they spread their spores liberally and are considered extremely dangerous. So it makes it more dangerous, which is generally, for me, it's more exciting. It unlocks also a relic, the giant mycelial hub, that you can gain there. Mycelian spawners are common. Mycelian spawners spawn more powerful armies. Mycelian spawners act as spore cloud hazards. I mean, I've always enjoyed, for example, in Civilization, the occurrence of barbarians. And there was actually a point where you could crank them up to be totally crazy and even annihilating whole civilizations. And I really like that feeling. It's also some Alpha Centauri-like thing. So, good stuff. And the planet trait is a modifier to the scenario we will encounter on that world. These are broadly divided into 3 categories. First, features, then inhabitant traits, and then modifier traits. So what are features? They add particular structures, sectors, or otherwise modifiers to the map generation of the scenario map. For example, Scorched World. Badlands are significantly more common. Arctic's disabled. Coasts and oceans are replaced with lava. Geothermal instability hazards are more common, and Pangea map type. So you can seriously form the experience you have there. Then inhabitant traits, they add certain AI players and may give them a particular behavior. We have seen that at the top here. For example, Syndicate Allies, 2 AI allied Syndicate players must be present. Or Disputed Claim, 2 AI Dwar players are present with additional assets and will inevitably go to war with each other. So you have a war there that you can join one side or the other side, or just battle 2 sides. Modifier traits are global modifiers to gameplay mechanics that may force you to adapt and consider strategies that you otherwise would not. For example, the limited space. Colonies cannot grow larger than 12 colonists. Or barren lands, all non-coastal sectors without rivers produce 50% less income. Each trait has a value that is not visible to the players that roughly indicates its impact on the difficulty. When a world is generated, up to 4 traits are chosen. The total value of these traits may not exceed the so-called complexity rating of the world. Additionally, only 2 traits of any category can be active at the same time. Now, I think that should be open, even if it's shrouded in some kind of mystery. It would be really interesting to see what does what. So, another option would be to have it totally secret, so to discover while you're playing that, but on the other hand, you could also say, hey, yeah, I know where I'm going with this. I can plan if I know this beforehand. So all has its advantages. We can look at that. For example, the Phase Heart Dominion. Again, you can see the Empire quests here. for the secondary objectives that we've already spoken about. So you can have networking here, for example, a relation with the autonom reached integration. Then we can see here a noble quest. You need to find a grail configuration and claim it. And we have peace through power, 3 defensive pacts forged. We can settle the claim. 0 out of 2 dwarf rivals allied. Special unlockable quests, and the other ones are more like general quests. I'm not sure about this though, so we'll see later. As you can see here, peace through power. The Celestians teach control and restraint above all else. Show them that you've mastered restraint. So it's actually about a contact with the original inhabitants of the planet. In that case, a Celestian. The secondary objectives were the second piece of the puzzle to make the experience of conquering a Galactic Empire's planet different from the average scenario. Each planet trait has an associated secondary objective, which requires a certain task to be completed. Each time a step of a secondary objective is completed, you gain Imperial renown, which you can use to call in your requisitions and experience towards the tech or race associated with that secondary objective. Some secondary objectives also function as victory conditions when they are completed, letting you swiftly conclude your conquest and providing an alternative goal to your usual conquests. Nice. As you can see here, for example, avenge the past. That's a victory condition. A Kirko emissary approached your expedition and requested the destruction of the 2 syndicate houses allied on this world. So these 2 would be victory conditions. The emissary claimed they played a prominent role in her kind's oppression in the past. So you have to destroy them. Each syndicate ally's commander defeated grants you a substantial Imperial renown and experience boost. Completing this secondary objective will trigger a victory condition. Nice. And will grant Imperial renown. And what is the Imperial renown good for? That's why I like these dev diaries. They're so well structured now. Imperial renown can be used, for example, for the Requisition System. That's the final major piece of the puzzle. This is how you bring otherwise unavailable technology with you on your conquests. When preparing for a planetary conquest, you may choose to bring along, depending on your empire level, up to 3 of each units, mods, and operations or doctrines. Each of these requisitions has an associated renown cost. This indicates the renown required to acquire the requisition once planetside. You start your conquest with 50 renown. To gain more, you must make progress towards your secondary objectives or complete the so-called empire requests. As you can see, you have a lot of things you can buy with a renown. For units, operations, mods, it's all there. And also here, Nimera the Void Empress, nice. It looks awesome, and I'm looking forward how this mechanic works in detail. In this particular setup, I decided I wanted to lean into my previously acquired Paragon allies. He writes, letting the Paragon soldiers and heavy soldiers make up for the otherwise relatively lacking ranged capability of the Oathbound. Yeah, the Oathbound, as we know from the previous dev diaries, are charging in and wreaking havoc in the backlines, or are standing strong in the front line. That's what they are about. I chose the Overcharger Augment to really get the most of my Paragon units in the mid to late game. Paragon units are good for range exceptionally, and brought the smart rounds so I'd have access to a strong offensive mod for their firearms attacks. For operations, I brought Cleansing Pulse to compensate for my potential weakness to status effects and Imperial Mandate, so I'd not be found lacking for influence and won't have to answer to anyone while waging my righteous war of conquest. And that's what I also like about the dev diaries. The devs really are experienced players very often, and that gives you a deep insight into this. Requisitions let you try unusual builds and unusual starts, of course, too. Bring along units unlocked through relics that one would otherwise not have access to, or simply make up for certain technologies your faction may lack, such as bringing along a psionic mod when playing the assembly Numbra. So, relics, and we come back to the relic Mycelian Infestation. That is a trait, and that unlocks the relic, the giant mycelial hub, and you can see certain planets will unlock a relic when conquered. For example, this, unlocking unique requisition items for future conquests. So, you have access to these relics through the Requisition System again, And we have an overview here. Let's look at that thing. Imperial Crown, unlocked by Anguissa the Salamander on End's grip. The Resonance Gland, unlocked by Anguissa the Salamander on End's grip. Wow, nice. Let's look into this specifically. What does such a reliquary, such a relic? Resonance glands are used by thundermaws to generate their sonic attacks. On an adult thundermaw in its prime, the glands are capable of producing a roar loud enough to be heard across continents. But such examples of the creature are rare due to their extreme aggression, fierce internal competition, and slow aging, leaving precious few of the creatures to reach their prime age. It unlocks the following requisition items: the thundermaw and the thundermaw swarmling. Nice, so it unlocks more options in that case to build this relic. We have the crystallized core. We have something that is hidden behind here. The crystallized core locked in that case. Relic is unlocked by conquering a planet with the following trait: quartzite. And we have deer's antlers. That also needs something from the Therian convention. An entropic casket. From the forgotten desecration, a giant mycelial hub. We've had that already. From a planet with a trait mycelian infestation. This thing, whatever that is, unlocked by a planet with a spacer XP farm. We have heard about the spacers in a former dev diary when the Oathbound saved an aboriginal population from the so-called spacer dangers. Then we have something of knowledge. I cannot read that. And a Grail configuration of knowledge. Now it is there. So, by achieving the Grail configuration of knowledge on a conquered planet, the Grail configuration of law, we have seen that, and the Grail configuration of life. It gives you an opportunity for more food production, as we've seen in previous dev diaries. And then we have also the configuration of potential of unity, a limitless network switch, a misfortune's paw, a progenitor razor claw, and a psionic crystal. And there might be more. I mean, if you scroll down there, there's 2 rows, not only one. No, you can hope. One can hope. The relics can be found in the reliquary, where you can review which relics you have already claimed and what other relics are still out there for the taking. There are 2 unique kinds of relics that are gained through different means. We have the Grail configurations, which we've heard a lot about. They are gained through the claiming of that particular Grail type on a world in our empire, and these uniquely grant a global bonus that is always active. On the other hand, the Emperor's Throne is uniquely unlocked outside the Galactic Empire mode itself and is gained through completion of the Oathbound campaign. Another relic. I like that. I mean, we could have relics for completing the other campaigns, right? That would be great too. Maybe they are there. Then we have the progression. Progression is also something nice, because you always love progression, right? It's that RPG feeling. It's a customizability. All kinds of things like that. Completing the conquest of a planet grants you progress towards multiple aspects of your empire. First, your leader's race and secret tech. Each step of a secondary objective you complete will grant you experience towards the associated secret tech or race. Completing all steps grants bonus experience. The planet has any traits that are associated with the relic. Then that relic is now unlocked and added to your reliquary, and your leader and any heroes that joined you from your Hall of Heroes will gain a level. Will come later to the Hall of Heroes. This means they will start at that level next time they are chosen as your leader or offered to join you in a future conquest. You can get basically a starting advantage. Let's have a look at that. I love the graphics so much. They're so nice too. So we have the Kirko, for example, here. We have different rewards, as you can see here. We have Oathbound rewards. We have Void Tech rewards. Preserving the Future, Abyssians, Kirko Transcendent, Deploy Abyssian Tech Aptitudes. Tech Aptitudes, everyone has that. We have the Protector Program for the Oathbound, the Duty of Care, the a Paladin Protector, a Paladin Warden. For the Void Tech, Gravity Pulse, Grenade, Echo Protocols, Void Barriers, Preventative Surveillance. So you have factions, you have techs where you can progress in. As you can see, that is the result of the objectives that you have completed: avenge the past and recover the samples. Knowledge is power. I don't know if these were completed. It doesn't look like it. Heroes in the Mirror, the Void Empress leveled up, and the relics we've gained here were a giant mycelial hub. There's also some progress to the Xenoplague and to the Assembly. So there's gonna be a lot that will cause and fuel progression. Aside from the Requisition, unlock certain milestone levels in a race or secret tech will grant you tech aptitude. This means that should you choose a leader using that race or secret tech, you will be granted additional starting technologies from the relevant race or tech as soon as we land. And more on that we'll probably only see in the game, but there is more to discover, I'm sure. Then we have the Hall of Heroes. The Hall of Heroes is our repository of great heroes and leaders. Any leader we choose to bring or create for our conquest is stored here. We can also create new heroes here anytime we like, after their appearance and alter their appearance and toggle whether or not they should show up as heroes during our conquests with other leaders. Nice. So we can. Does that mean we can encounter them on the other side, on our opponent's side? That would be great, right? Nice. Wouldn't want the Empress serving a lowly general now, would we? Heroes gain a level for each planet in whose conquest they partake. These levels determine their starting level when they first appear on a planet, either as your leader or as a hero. So you can check recruitable or not. You can see that you have conquered with her a couple of planets. Duskor, Rundus, Capital 42, Iskar. Unlocked some relics and some statistics, and the statistics are still weird because the statistics system wasn't like complete at the time that Dev Diary was made. Below that, the heroes also gain traits based on their chosen loadout. Nemera, for example, has gained Imperial Champion Juggernaut due to her original melee loadout. These traits grant an army buff and gain power as the hero gains levels, starting at Veteran for levels 2 to 4, then proceeding to Champion at 5 to 7, and so on. Such a great outlook. For example, Imperial Champion Juggernaut, we can see here, all units in the hero's army gain +1 armor and +5 health. Nice, really nice. Only functions when the hero is the army's commander. Very cool. When you combine that with combining actual heroes with colonies for the Oathbound, you have such a complexity outlook and such a fun outlook. I'm I'm breaking down. I want to play this. But it's only until the 10th, so it's just a couple of days. Just a couple of days. And there's a lot to be counted until then. A lot to do. There's also added modding potential. Let's not let this fall below. Lastly, something excited about is the ease with which one can add new planet traits, secondary objectives, or relics. Simply make a new RPK and attaching it to a trait that you add to the system will add that content to the game if that trait is present. Nice. Once you add your new sector type to the world, replace all spawners with penguin nests. Give all units that flank guaranteed hits. The trait system lets you add nearly anything you can think of. I'm so looking forward to this. There's so many mods that you... Wow. New units, mods, or operations can also be added as part of relics or even just added to existing progression trees. That was... yeah. He hopes that was an interesting read. And it was! And that you're excited to try your own hand at Galactic Conquest. And I am! It's a truly inspiring read, says the first commenter, and I would say it definitely is. Now what's left to do is wait until the 10th of November when the Star Kings DLC launches. I'm really looking forward to that. And you, what's your favorite thing of this Dev Diary? There's so much to pick from, and I think all of the progression stuff is probably my favorite. Have a great time until next time and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Can signing out. See you soon and happy gaming.